All right, I guess the theme today is at the comics show is the science fiction comics. OMAC, Jack Kirby, 1970s, and Lure, which is just last year, pretty big graphic novel. And I'd never read this guy before. And Jack Kirby, I of course have read many pages of, but I've never read OMAC before, and I wanted to check it out. Mid-70s Kirby. Let's start though with Lure, because normally I don't review stuff that I don't like because I don't finish it. Usually if I don't enjoy something, I stop because time is valuable. Time is money, as someone once said. Lure though I did finish, even though it's long, because, oh man, this is hard to unpack. Where do I begin? So the art, I would say, is pretty good in some ways. This is one of those covers where you can't really tell how good the art is because the cover doesn't reveal much, just like a face. Cool cover though, I like the cover. Good color scheme. But then inside we got the art. There's kind of two sides to the art. One, you have these landscapes, which this guy, who's the artist by the way? Lane Milburn. I believe he does these great landscapes, excellent landscapes, sometimes 2-pagers. Just cool. I think these scenes are really great. I think this is maybe what kept me going with this book, a lot of the art. But then there's these other aspects of the art where there's like the characters and they're always like in this very stilted drawing style. I did not care for this aspect of the art, I would say. And trying to sync these two styles up, they almost seem like a different artist in some sense. But I was okay enough with the art. I think if I had liked the story more, the art would function. But I guess the story is where I really jumped ship, because I was reading some reviews and somebody referred to it as mumblecore, which I'd never heard, but I instantly understood what they meant, because the story is basically, it is technically a science fiction. These guys go to like a planet, I think it's a planet, yeah, Lure, and they're just basically kind of like office workers, but they're artists, and they are working on this art project, and there's like kind of a conspiracy going on. But it just felt kind of like, I don't know, I didn't like any of the characters, and it just felt like the way it built up, you felt like it was building up to something, and then what it actually builds up to is it's like, what? And the more I thought about it, the more it kind of reminded me of that movie, The Room, in the sense that you feel like, and I apologize if Lane Milburn sees this video, because I never want to like throw, what's the expression, throw water on somebody's face or whatever. Like I don't want to like, I think he could be a great graphic novelist. I think he worked on this book though for quite a while. I want to say it's like 5 years, 2016 to 2021. So I can't, people put a lot of work into something, and I can't, the dynamics of storytelling I liked. Actually, he moves the story along in an interesting way. I just felt like I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the overall, there was just like this mythological backstory that didn't really go anywhere and didn't really feel there. And I think part of the problem with working on something for 5 years, or working on art, as such a, you work on something like this, and I'll mention this more with Jack Kirby too, because he's the opposite. He works super fast. But when you work on something for that long, be it a novel, a movie, or whatever, or my YouTube videos, which I spend months crafting away at, you can feel like everybody, like you're in that thought process, in that space for so long that you take everything for granted. But then, me, I whizzed through this book pretty quickly, like, and that's 5 years of somebody's time is an hour of my time or less. So I don't know, you just kind of have a different sense of pacing, and sometimes that gets lost on the reader or the viewer. But anyways, I had high expectations for Lure, cool, because of that cool cover. I really like the cover. But I'd give this guy another chance though. Let me make sure it is a he. Lane. Is Lane a male name? I think it's a male name, right? I'm pretty sure it's a male name. So anyways, Lane, if you're watching this, I would like to see your future work. I just wasn't totally on board with Lure. OMAC. OMAC is a science fiction book. I think it most reminded me of Commandy. I don't know if you know that Jack Kirby science fiction book, which is, both of these feel kind of like they're riffing on 1970s kind of Charlton Heston sci-fi movies or something, that artwork is great. Jack Kirby's 70s work I love. It's not quite as good as like New Gods and that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's the inking or if it's just his art is kind of becoming a little, it's still very good art. It's good, but it's just not as sharp. I don't know. The inking, a lot of it's by D. Bruce Berry, and I don't think he does D. Bruce Berry. I don't know who D is. I don't think his inking is necessarily as good as Mike Royer does some of the inking. He does a little better. But almost every page there's sound effects. Sosh! And OMAC is kind of like an action figure. This feels like like they came up with an action figure and then they handed it to him and said, Jack Kirby, write a story about this action figure and don't include any other characters. I mean, there are characters, but it feels like they're all very disposable characters that disappear like within an issue or two. And basically it's just OMAC, who is this, it's kind of not really explained. He's like recruited by this anonymous, there's a lot of elements in this that do make me think of modern culture and memes and the way that countries and like corporations, they like harvest people and fill them with identities, and they all participate in this video game culture of war and harvesting of armies and swarms and so on. So I thought this was a kind of a cool comic. It feels like a comic, like imagine like in the movie version of 1984. I don't know if they had comics or not, but like it feels like it is kind of like or Fahrenheit 451. Like it's like the worst image of what comics are. It's just violence, action, nonstop action. I don't think one panel goes by without something exploding or something happening. It's just, but I love it. I think the energy in it is great, and the way that Kirby just narrates stories is just so bizarre. I love the design though. Doesn't he look like an action figure? Yeah, I think so. Not the, I don't know, like it's just pure energy. Kirby energy. Story less than important. I could not tell you a lot of what's going on. There's this weird organization of these guys that wear these face masks so that they don't have identity. Again, that reminds me of like Anonymous. That yeah. So anyways, I am recommending OMAC if you like. I don't know who would like this book. Me, it's just pure design. Like at this point in his career, you could take any Jack Kirby panel and turn it into a poster, and it would be awesome. Like some of these 2-page spreads are pretty great. Did I show this one before? Look at that guy, he's exploding across the page. Anyways, OMAC, 1970s Kirby, check it out.